All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're casting off into one of the most chilling and frankly unsolved maritime mysteries of the 20th century. We're talking about the SS Orang Medan. This is the story of a ship that sent one last horrifying message and then vanished, leaving behind a scene that's pure nightmare fuel.
Just think about that for a second. These were the last two words to ever come from that ship. A simple, terrifying message that just cut through the static. And then, complete silence. A mystery that has stumped everyone for over 75 years. So picture this. We're in the Strait of Malacca, one of the busiest shipping lanes on the entire planet. It's a totally normal day, seas are calm, weather's fine. But for the ships in that area, that routine day was about to be completely shattered by a desperate cry for help. The year is 1948. It's February. Suddenly, a whole bunch of ships sailing through the strait start picking up this really disturbing SOS message, all tapped out in Morse code. Now, why Morse code? Well, it's incredibly reliable. It can cut through all sorts of atmospheric noise way better than a voice transmission ever could. So whoever sent this, they really want it to be heard. And the message, it came in these frantic, panicked bursts. First, an SOS, identifying the ship as the SS Orang Medan. And then, the chilling news, all officers, including the captain, are dead. A moment later, another message, even more desperate. Probably the whole crew is dead. They manage to send their coordinates, but then the message just dissolves into a jumbled mess of dots and dashes, followed by those two final, crystal-clear words before the line went dead for good.
So, with the Orang Medan now completely silent, the closest ship, an American merchant vessel called the Silver Star, immediately changed course. Its captain knew this was serious and pushed the engines to full speed, racing toward the last known coordinates of that dying ship.
After a few hours, they spotted on the horizon. There it is, the Orang Medan, just floating peacefully. But something is very, very wrong. From a distance, the ship looks totally fine. No damage, no smoke, nothing. It's just quiet. Way too quiet.
As the Silver Star got closer, that creepy feeling just got stronger. I mean, this is a steamship, but there was zero smoke coming from its funnel. The decks were completely empty, not a soul in sight. The captain of the Silver Star blasted his horn, called out over the loudspeaker. Nothing, just the sound of the waves. It was a true ghost ship. They knew they had to send a boarding party over to see what was going on.
The moment the rescue team from the Silver Star stepped onto the deck of the Orang Medan, they were hit with this profound silence and a strange, unnatural cold. And what they were about to discover was something that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. The scene was an absolute horror show. Bodies were everywhere, scattered across the decks, on the bridge, in the chart room. The entire crew of the Orang Medan was dead. But it wasn't just that they were dead. It was how they looked. Every single person was frozen stiff in a posture of pure, absolute terror. Their arms were thrown out, like they were trying to fight off some invisible enemy. And here's the part that makes absolutely no sense. Despite these looks of agony on every single face, there wasn't a mark on any of them. No wounds, no signs of a fight, not a drop of blood. It's as if they were literally scared to death.
One of the rescuers later described it, and his words just paint this horrifying picture. Their faces were contorted in horror, mouths agape and eyes wide, staring at an unseen terror. And this was everyone, the captain on the bridge, the officers in their quarters, even the ship's dog was found dead, frozen mid-snarl. And in the radio room, the operator was slumped over his equipment, fingers still on the Morse code key, his eyes staring blankly at the ceiling.
The boarding party, completely horrified and baffled, decided they had to tow the ship to the nearest port to figure this out. But just as they started prepping the tow lines, the Orang Medan had one last violent secret up its sleeve. All of a sudden, thick smoke starts pouring out of one of the lower cargo holds. The rescue team barely had enough time to cut their lines and scramble back to their own boat before a huge explosion just ripped the ship's hull apart. The Orang Medan sank fast, taking its dead crew and any chance of an explanation right down to the bottom of the sea. So, with the only piece of evidence now sitting at the bottom of the ocean, the investigation had to rely on what the Silver Star's crew saw. But right away, they hit a massive brick wall. Turns out, according to all official records, the SS Orang Medan never existed.
Yep, you heard that right. Lloyd's shipping register, which is like the Bible for all merchant ships, had absolutely no record of it.
Now, does that mean it's all just a story? Well, not so fast. Remember, this was right after World War II. It was a chaotic time, and a lot of ships were operating off the books, using fake names for things like smuggling. If anything, the fact that it was unregistered just makes the whole thing even more mysterious.
For decades, this story was pretty much just considered maritime folklore, a ghost story sailors told. But then, in 2003, the CIA declassified a file from 1958. It was a letter to the agency detailing the entire Orang Medan incident. The fact that the CIA was interested and held this file for 45 years, well, that suddenly gave the story a whole new level of credibility.
So this brings us to the three main theories people have come up with. Let's break them down. First, and probably the most plausible, is a hazardous chemical cargo. The idea is the ship was smuggling dangerous stuff left over from the war, maybe potassium cyanide and nitroglycerin. If seawater leaked into the hold, it could have reacted with the cyanide, creating a deadly gas cloud. That would explain the instant death with no injuries and those looks of terror. Then, the unstable nitroglycerin could have been ignited by that same reaction, causing the big explosion. Theory number 2? A covert mission. Maybe the ship was secretly moving biological weapons from Japan's infamous Unit 731. That would definitely explain why it was unregistered and why the CIA was interested. And then, of course, you have the supernatural explanation, that some thing literally scared the entire crew to death. It sounds crazy, but for some, it's the only theory that explains those faces.
So, while we'll probably never know for sure, the evidence we have seems to point most strongly to that chemical cargo theory. A deadly mix of smuggled goods, leaky holds, and bad luck, it just seems to tick all the boxes, explaining both the crew's bizarre deaths and the ship's final violent end.
But without a shipwreck to investigate, the truth about the SS Orang Medan is still down there, buried in the depths. It's a chilling reminder that the ocean holds on to its secrets. And it really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What other stories, what other terrors are still lost down there, waiting beneath the waves?